everybody, welcome to the Daily Market Update. It is October the 17th. Hope you guys all had an amazing trading day. For those of you new to the channel, we do the same thing every day. At the end of the market day, we like to go through the same 8 futures markets to look at their movements, see how they affected the markets, and really to look at the evolution of our positions. We draw some lines on the chart, and we leave those lines on until the trade either gets hit, we get stopped out, maybe it doesn't read entry, and we'll adjust the lines. And I like to do it with you guys right here so that you can kind of see the evolution of trades as we build them out. So if you like what we're doing here, do me a favor, give me a share, give me a like, give me a shout, give me a tweet, give me whatever it is. That would be awesome. So let's go through today, starting with the S&P. And the S&P, as we talked about yesterday, we talked about this ascending triangle pattern that was kind of forming. And it wasn't a clean ascending triangle pattern, but there was definitely that rising, that higher lows, but the same highs. And I said that there's no way I'm shorting this market. And I think that there was definitely a trap set for those that did try to short on the breakdown out of this level. No doubt in my mind that there are traps that occur in the market, and I think that probably was a trap. There is no way I was shorting this thing. I still would be okay if somebody wanted to get long above this area. Right now, if you get long on a breakout above this area, in my mind, you place your stop below this area. If you decide to get long on the breakout, you place your stop below this area. I'm going to remove this bottom line here. So if you get long on that breakout, I'm going to change that color here so that we just remember that that's a breakout buy order potential. Make it a bit thicker. Okay, so for those of you that are looking at that, and then your stop loss in my mind would be right up in here. Now, I will tell you, I'd be pretty quick to move my stop to break even, and frankly, even to take some profits. At a 1-to-1, I'm going to move my stop up to break even at something like this, because this is a breakout position, which can then come down and get you pretty quickly. Now, the only reason we would take that on the breakout is because we're getting impatient, waiting for the market to give us something to do. I still think that these levels back here are better buying opportunities on some nice pullbacks. Looking at that on a daily chart, a daily chart, not a 4-hour chart. Looking at that on a daily chart, a little pullback into here would just be a healthy pullback. There's really nothing to be scared of or nothing to be worried about as far as a pullback into this area. On a bigger picture scale, we kind of may be a slightly overextended, right? Let me see if I can hide these drawings. No, I can't just hide them, so I don't want to hide them. I don't want to delete them. So, I'd be even okay with a deeper pullback, frankly, into this range. 2,500 would in my mind be a nice healthy pullback, especially looking at it on the weekly chart. I'm a big fan of buy the dip, but buy the dip on a pullback into a really good area. And right now that just hasn't existed. So for intraday trading opportunities, I'm trying to stay to the bigger picture time frames. You're going to find better results at those bigger picture time frames. And right now that's really what that's telling me. So looking at the Nasdaq as well. Yesterday we talked about the breakout potential on the Nasdaq, just like the S&P. I like the S&P's breakout potential a bit more than the Nasdaq's, only because of those higher lows that we've been having along with those same highs. Both of them are potentials, but both of them I like better on a pullback to a fresh opportunity. Now, let's talk about crude oil. So yesterday when we talked about crude oil, we talked about getting, we had gotten short off this level right in here. Hip, hip, hooray. And then we changed the line to a dashed line, and we said that this level is still valid. So since this level is still valid, we will keep this in place. And we talked about if you did short it up here, which a number of you I'm sure did, that you took a target down here. So it hit the target, and then here we had another long. So here we had another long opportunity. Now, this is an interesting time. I want to shrink this. I don't like to go to small time frames, very small too often, but I want to go to one in this case. So in this case, if you notice, we broke well below the level. Now, you may or may not have gotten long on this trade into here, and if you did, you might have been stopped out. Now, this is the case where if you go to a very small time frame chart, call it the 5-minute chart, you'll see that there's this area in here where we have these wicks that kind of overlap one another. Right below that little bit of basing area. Now, I didn't include those in my zone, in my area of support. I probably should have included those, did not. And so there's a chance you may have gotten stopped out on this one. If you did, hopefully you were able to get back in as it came back out of the level, and it's really started to run up nicely from there. I'm still okay getting shorted here on an entry. Let it come into this area, and then let it show me that it's going to be weak, and get short as it shows me some weakness coming out of this level. So all that being said, every other level on the chart is still valid. Looking at gold. So gold, we talked about yesterday that there was a possibility for an entry as we came into the level. So this one we're sitting at right now. So many of you, if you're looking at it, might be long. And if you are long, I would be looking at this as your first profit objective. This area right in here, to me, is your first profit objective. And I would take some money off the table in this area right here. As a primary profit objective, and frankly would be moving my stop up to break even at this area right here. Now the reason for that is because we've got a fair amount of indecision in those periods. Now the thing I like about it is that it occurred in the overnight hours, and so by occurring in the overnight hours, it's not as important, it's not as strong, but it is right around the London Open. So I would be pretty cautious on this one. We spent a fair amount of time down in this area. So I'm going to leave my lines on, but this level's toast. I'm not going to be using this area again. If we come back, let's say we come up to here and then come back down into it, there's absolutely no way I'm taking it again. I think that it's probably been used up. I think all of its strength has probably waned, and now I would be probably more interested in something a bit lower if I do indeed want to look at buying, and it would probably be somewhere down in here. Something like this 77 by 72 kind of range, just above this low here on 62. Now, if I look at this on a daily time period, you would see that would bring us right back to this low right in here. And there's a good chance, because this has already been touched, that this will get blown right through. So this would be for a short time frame trade. Your better trade is going to be to allow price to come down through there and to get short on a retest back up into here. Shorting is really the better answer right now in gold, based on what our big picture is giving us. And our big picture, because we broke through this area where there was some buying opportunity, tells me that the sellers are probably going to be in control for a little period of time in the gold markets. Looking at my bond markets, so going over to our 10-year Treasury note. Let's grow this thing. 10-year Treasury note, the level that we've marked off is still there. That thing's been there for weeks. And if you notice, we just got to keep it there. We got to be patient. Patience is a virtue, as I was taught as a child. And keeping that patience as a virtue is very, very helpful. And then on our 4 hour, it's way down here. So in my mind, there's really not a whole lot else out there. If you want to take a breakout, you might get a breakout short below this 124, this 215 area. I am not a huge fan of that short breakout, but there's going to be a lot of people that do if you want to take the short on the breakout below there. But as for it stands today, not a whole heck of a lot. In the Aussie, so the Aussie dollar, we have a level marked off, price didn't get there. Another level marked off, price didn't get there. We took the long on the breakout above here, and we are just patiently waiting for price to rally back into one of our selling opportunities. But those levels, no change on those levels. Euro, now the euro, missed this one today. I will say that this one I definitely missed today. I had anticipated this level. I didn't know this level would work as well as it did. I had set up here. We got missed by a tick. I seem to keep missing my trades in the euro by just a smidge. And I'm going to continue to keep missing them. If it requires me to change my rules and to take more aggressive entries, then I'm going to keep missing them. I'd rather follow my rules and miss trades than break my rules and get into too many trades. Taking a lot of trades does not make you a good trader. Taking the right trades makes you a good trader. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these opportunities. Yeah, missed out on this one. I saw that little area, thought about it, decided against it. C'est la vie. Since we're trading the euro, no problem. It's not going to hurt me in the long run. I still have a bigger picture, bearish profit target way down in here in the euro that we're starting to continue to move down. In the Canadian dollar, now the Canadian dollar has really been a breakout play over the last couple of months. It's really just been consolidates, breaks out, consolidates, breaks out. Here we had another one, consolidate, break down. Now we've rallied back up, and this area here could act. Let me go to a slightly smaller time frame just to really hone in on an entry. But this area here, and we're really going to take a fairly wide, what's the word, swath? Fairly wide swath here. This area up here could act as a good entry point. And we move that back to the hourly chart. You'll see that it's that whole range right here where you could get a short opportunity. Go take a look on the daily chart. That lines up pretty well with our area. Now, the other thing here, especially on the daily, where this will maybe cause some undue pain, is people that are getting long when they see this long lower wick. And I don't want to get long just because I see that long lower wick. In my mind, that's going to be reactionary to what the market is giving me. Last one that I want to look at, because I did get a request, is to look at the Great British Pound. So yesterday we identified some levels in the Great British Pound, and they were both fairly far away from current price. Although this level here gave us a little bit of a reversal, but not a super strong one. You might actually have another opportunity in here, right there. I'm not in love with this area, so I'm going to change that to a dashed line as an entry. Remember, a dashed line means that we wait for price to come in and then show us something before we would be willing to get short on that. But there's really nothing down here that I'm a huge fan of. On the weekly chart, the bigger picture, where there's a whole lot of stuff going on with the pound, especially around the Brexit. So, is there some weakness in the pound that could rear its head again? Yeah, no doubt about it. And if it does, there's plenty of room for it to fall and for trades to be made. So, hope you guys enjoyed our session here today. If you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in the box. If you've got anything that you want to look at or some things to add to the channel, let me know. Give me a like, give me a share, give me a tweet, give me a follow, whatever it happens to be, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.